Alright, this is Tennis Minutes. I'm going to do some practicing, and I want to encourage you to practice hitting that backhand. And so when you think about a high backhand, you're going across. Okay, I'm not talking about an overhead backhand, but just a high backhand going across, strengthen the exterior muscles. And a lot of times young players will use a two-handed backhand, and so this could strengthen their exterior muscles. But you have to realize that when they're using when I do it left-handed here, this is on a two-handed backhand. This would be my control arm. This would be my arm that's stronger. And so that's strengthening arm. So you're hitting with power here, and then this arm is where you get the control. And so you want to be practicing on the interior muscles on the left-hand side to strengthen those to improve your backhand. And so when you do this drill, you're hitting high balls, come across your shoulder. It's like a baseball player when they hit a line drive. They're not going to be hitting down. They're going to hit through the ball and through the ball. And what brings it down is gravity. And so I see a lot of people that they will come down in the ball too early, and that's not good. You want to hit through the ball, and then so what happens is gravity will bring it down. And so practice strengthen your arms. So just if you use left-handed, okay, or if you're right-handed, you switch around. Remember, but left-handed, this is going to strengthen your two-handed backhand. And so I'm going to encourage you to practice by strengthening, your left hand. And this is a great way of strengthening left hand is practice like what I'm doing now. And just practice pushing. It's also going to help you have a touch. And so when you go to use two hands, then you have this control arm here, and you have this power arm. You put them together, and you work with them, okay? And it's a great way of utilizing your power and your control. So this would be your control arm. This would be your power arm. Put them together and then synchronize them, and you're going to have a better two-handed backhand. So practice, when you hit a high ball, high to high. It's like playing baseball. They don't hit down, okay? When they're hitting the ball and they're going to hit a line drive, they hit through the ball. Not everybody's going to get up the bat and try to hit home runs. They're going to drive the ball, and they're going to drive it through. So that ball comes high in the strike zone, up chest high. They're going to hit it shoulder to shoulder. They're not going to hit down. It's a difference between hitting low to high and getting natural topspin than hitting the ball that's higher. And so get used to hitting that ball that's higher. It's a great way to strengthen. There's your power. There's your arm that has the control if you're playing two hands, and this is your arm for power. And putting them together, you synchronize them, and you got a wonderful hit with power and control at the same time. And so I encourage you to do it both sides. So if you're practicing this side, practice with your right hand. Okay, practice right hand. I've seen many players, they use two hand, two-hand backhands, especially girls. I'm amazed how many I see start that way. In fact, some people teach they start with two hands and then switch to one when they're young. Right? There's people that will teach that way, and so it's not a bad idea either. And so when you're practicing, realize that you're strengthening your arms. High to high, okay? It's like driving a baseball, okay? The gravity is going to bring it down. And so practice high to high. And so if I'm going this way, I'm going to be practicing my backhand side. I'm going to push it this way. And so I have my arm that's going to be my control arm. This is going to be on the two-handed backhand. It's my power arm. I put them together, synchronize them, and then I hit. And so find ways to practice, and this is just one way that I'm practicing and trying to be creative in how I practice. And that way when I do go on the tennis court and play, that I feel like, boy, I practiced a little bit. Nothing more frustrating than saying, boy, I wish I would have practiced more, or I wish I would have warmed up more. And so I find ways to be able to practice before I even go on the court. And so tennis is a fun game. It's a skilled sport. It does take practice. It's not like some sports where you can just hit the ball hard and you don't have to have as much technique. Tennis is a game of technique. Has a lot of tactics to it, and it does take some developing of talent. And so it takes time. So you have to have time to practice. It is, in a sense, takes technique. And after technique, you have to realize there's some tactics to the game. And so try to shortchange and just think that you can play a game without technique or spending time in practice or using tactics. It takes some talent to develop those. And so I'm going to encourage you to take time to practice and think of ways you can practice. Be creative in your practice and enjoy. And so there's so much time that we waste. And so while I'm doing this, oftentimes I'll be listening to a lecture. I'll listen to a lecture on a book. I'll find some interesting YouTube, or then I'll listen to some classical music, some good motivational music. And so I encourage you to practice and use your time well. In fact, I just realized that I didn't look at it yet, but Peterson talks about how people waste their time. And so I want to make good use of my time. And if you're good at something or you want to improve at something, it takes time and you have to practice. Already this morning I've been reading a couple books, scanned a few books. I have a way that I read books too. And so it's just not getting the cliff books or what are those short, you get those cheat notes or whatever, clip notes or whatever. I like to really digest books. And so usually in a week I'm usually going to read, a book, okay? And so I had two problems. My problem is I started too many books. And so, but I do enjoy reading, and I do enjoy listening to good music and good books. Good thoughts, and so it's important to listen with your ears. It's important to use your eyes. It's important to learn, and so I want to encourage you, and I hope this was helpful. Tennis minutes, I didn't want to go too long, so enjoy, share your creative tips with me.